We're back here with one of the most decorated wrestlers in wrestling history, Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. It's been a while. Reflect on your career. It's been a while since we discussed your career. So many things have happened. But one thing that I hold true to my heart, August 2004, I started running the NWA cyberspace in New Jersey. You were the first big name that I brought in, and you worked a retirement match against your close buddy, Chris Kanyon.
That was good, too.
Tore the house down. It was amazing. Unfortunately, Chris is no longer with us. How do you reflect on that?
Chris was already gone for a while before that. You know, I'd only get to talk to the Chris Kanyon I knew once in a while. You know, there are people out there who embrace the negativity, and there's other people who fight it, embrace the positivity of life. I couldn't help Chris. You know, at points it looked like I was getting through to him, but when someone finds out they're bipolar, you know, you can either feed into that. It's like getting cancer. You can feed into it. Oh my God, I'm going to die. You're right. You're dead. You know, one of my favorite quotes in the world is, if you say you can or you say you can't, you're right. You know, and Chris, you know, he embraced that negativity, you know, negativity in his life. I loved him. He's a great guy. But you know, it was a shame because he was a great worker and he was a good friend, and a lot of people really loved him. But you know, I put a great tribute up to him up on my blog, and everybody. I still get emails from people from that. You know, thanking me for telling some of the other sides of Chris, which he really was a good guy. But you know, I think he's happier now because he just didn't want to be around. If you don't want to be around, check out, man. You know.
And to be honest with you, Paige, over the last 5 years, I know that there were big issues over Chris. He was involved in a lawsuit with the WWE for wrongful termination. I know he tried to exploit himself, not be exploited, but exploit himself on the Howard Stern show, and ultimately, it was probably his biggest downfall, his biggest pitfall, a hole that he couldn't crawl out of. Do you think anybody tried to reach out to him at that time?
No, I know it did. We all did. But he was unreachable, bro. You know, he wanted to embrace, the negative. And when you have someone doing that, I only go to help that so far. You know, I'm not going to keep getting slapped in the face that, not that he did that. But if someone doesn't pay attention to, grabbing a hold of the positive, you out of here, big guy? Okay.
Who's this guy? You know this guy?
Yes, I do. That's the Beast himself, man. That's the Beast.
Does he know it? I'm just another mystery man with a mustache here right now. Are we talking about
Magnum TA? Oh no.
Oh! Are we talking yoga here right now? What is it?
Oh, see, he goes into the yoga word. YRG. Come on, if you
well, okay, but
YRG. Come on.
All right, I'm sorry.
Come on, Beast.
It should be easier YRG than to say that word yoga right now. But let's put it this way: there is yoga, and then there's YRG to the 10th power here right now. An incredible workout. I was watching it. I didn't even dare to try to step out on the mat because it was a little too rough and too tough for this cat here right now.
Oh, God.
Good stuff though right now. I recommend it to anybody.
How many of your voices are on the YRG program?
Say again?
How many of your voices are on the YRG program?
How many of my voices?
The voices that tell you.
You mean the screams and the howlers or something like that?
Oh, don't start that now. Don't do that now, Dan. Come on. I'm a little guy.
All right, I'm out of here.
Take it easy, Beast.
I love you, man.
All right.
See you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, guys.
Take it easy,
Dan
Dan.
to Beast Severn. Good God. He actually put it over YRG really strong. And,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Now, getting back to the whole wrestling deal, I mean, you've been out of the game. Do you still watch the game? And what do you don't even understand it?
Let me interject because you mentioned about a man with numerous titles.
Yes.
And I had many accolades when it came to, I would say, because you never got won those titles, you got awarded them. And I just recently talked about on the Real DDP blog, if you're a wrestling fan and you were a fan of Diamond Dallas Page, you definitely want to go to DiamondDallasPage.com and you'll see the Real DDP video blog. Every Wednesday I do Wrestling Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, I chronologically talk about my career. Right now, I just finished talking about my first title ever, which was the television title, which I got from Renegade. And I talk about that match, but that's episode 16. If you want to know where Diamond Dallas Page came from and how it all became a reality, not just an idea in my head, you got to go back to episode 1, where I talk about where me and Smokey were together and a couple of my buddies drinking, and where the name Diamond Dallas Page comes from. And then they were actually videoing a thing for me called Party News Network. They were interviewing the guy behind the voice of Norma Jean's Dance Club, which I was running. And at some point they said to me, so where does the voice come from? And I'd throw in a pair of sunglasses. I go, the voice comes from Diamond Dallas Page, Daddy. I was born to be a professional wrestling manager. And I took the sunglasses off and I kept talking. And I actually have on the Real DDP blog that video that's on YouTube of me talking about it, and that video that I'm talking about from television. And then the next episode, I talk about making up my demo reel to send to the AWA. Underneath is an edited version of my demo reel. Now, you can't get that on YouTube. You can only get that on the Real DDP. You go to the Real DDP and you subscribe, costs nothing, and you get them every week. You'll get it sent to you. And if you, like I say, you want to go all the way back, go all the way back and check how it all started out. I had a lot of good things to say about Evad Sullivan, Devin Davis, because it was a fun angle. Looking back, I thought it was garbage later, earlier in my career. Now I look back, I love it. It was fun because they wouldn't let me be on Saturday night, 6:05. I got 9:05 in the morning. That's what they would give me, so I took it, and I turned it into something, Your
lemons, right?
Right, absolutely.
Now, Paige, the business today, it's changed since you were involved in it. I mean, obviously, there's always sports entertainment. There's always gimmicky and kooky. But at the same time, I think they're pushing a little too far. Not necessarily WWE's product, but TNA's, I could barely comprehend it. How do you feel?
I don't really watch enough of it to make a judgment on it. When I watch WWE, I've known Cody Rhodes since he was a kid, 7. I went to I went to both his state championships. I flew back from LA to be there when he went undefeated his junior year, and when he won his state title his senior year. And I remember one time I called him up, and he had just lost his first match in a year and a half, and he was like, "Dallas, I lost. I can't believe it, man. I'm so bummed out." I'm like, "Cody, thank God." And he goes, "Thank God. Why would you say that?" I said, "Cody, you don't learn anything from winning. You learn from losing. You learn from falling down. You learn from making mistakes." I said, "Would you rather have met that kid in the semifinals, been undefeated, met that kid in the semifinals of the States, and lost to him then?" That's why I never really thought about that. The craziness of that whole story is Cody met that guy in the finals, and he owned him because he had a whole different mindset. And and Cody came out and spent a year out in LA learning how to act and learning how to. That's why he's one of the best talkers in the business right now, because he understands building a character from the inside out. His old man, without Dusty Rhodes, there is no Diamond Dallas Page. So I've got a special spot in my heart for him. So whenever I find anything, if I catch him, I'll watch his stuff, and I know eventually he'll break and he'll turn into when he goes babyface at some point, because he can sell and he gets that. I think that's when he'll really get over. Randy Orton, I love to watch him. I think he's the best worker in the business. That we share the same finish, just a little bit modified. I love that.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I remember when Randy was first coming up, you and I had a conversation. You had a great idea. He was doing the Legend Killer gimmick?
Yeah.
And DDP could have had one more run.
I would have.
One more run. Why don't you let the people out there know what I guess the WWE dropped the ball on?
Well, it would have been great only because he was, one legend after another. But in retrospect, I'm glad we didn't have it. It would have been a great match, because now I say Randy killed so many legends. But you never killed me, brother. And I told him I was going to say, I went to see him at SummerSlam. I went to see a lot of guys, Cody and a bunch of the boys, and me and Randy talked for about a half an hour, and it was great catching up with him. And I said it to him. I said, Randy, I said, people are always asking if I ever come back. I said, we know this match will never happen, so I always say you. I said, because if I ever did, it would only be because we'd have actually an angle. And I said, so when people say, you kill those legends, you never kill me, brother. So I get that, but I love the fact that he does it. That I have something, that my legacy lives on within a guy who I think is the best worker in the business.
Absolutely. I mean, how do you feel? I mean, not only do you respect the guy and you see him as a future legend, a future star. I mean, he is a mega star now. But his finishing move is so clear cut. It's the diamond cutter.
Well, in the beginning, he put a lot of different twists on it to make it his own, and people go, but he doesn't do it like you. He doesn't take it out of nowhere. I said he's a heel. This is how smart he is. Because he's a heel. If he started doing that move out of nowhere, he's going to turn himself babyface. He didn't want to be a babyface. He worked really hard at becoming a heel. And I'm going to probably watch it next couple weeks just because I've heard he's really starting to make that transition and people are getting behind him. And you got to remember, one of the things that people are so upset with the wrestling today, because it's all kids, when they just got done watching all men. Guys in their late 30s, 40s, we were all men. And that's a big thing. But all these guys, Randy's about 30 now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I believe it'll all come around. If the writing lets some of the talent continue to be themselves. Wrestling's cyclical. It comes ups and downs. So, you can't kill wrestling. So as hot as UFC is, you still can't kill it,
It's no secret that you're buddies with Eric Bischoff. Do you think that his involvement along with Hulk Hogan's in TNA, you think it's for better or for worse?
I don't really know enough to really pay attention. I hear a lot of different stuff. One thing I really did like, and I only watched it a couple times, but I really liked that reaction show.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought first time I watched that, I TiVo'd by accident into it, and I got pulled into it, and I said, because it was years ago, I said to Eric, I said, man, we should be doing like behind-the-scenes stuff, and doing stuff like that. But they didn't know how to do that. Jason Hervey, who's down there really working his ass off, because he does so much of reality, and Bischoff and him they're very successful reality producers, very successful. To get a show up and going, you're successful. They've had many. So having their impact to it, I don't know what the ratings are doing of it, but I found it definitely interesting.
I was talking to Booker T a couple of days ago, another one of these conventions. We were discussing the WWE, WCW invasion angle after Vince bought the company. And, I mean, obviously, it failed. It bombed.
Well, they wanted it to fail.
Of course they did, but at the same time, was it an even playing field considering that the real WCW guys weren't there, that DDP wasn't a part of it, Goldberg, Sting?
I was there for that part. And, I wish I wasn't. I wish I was. Yeah, I wish I wasn't.
You see, I'm trying to put that out of my head now.
Yeah, well, me too. But my only shining moments in WWE, day one, that's when Diamond Dallas Page showed up, and I blew that roof off. And was when I wrestled Christian at WrestleMania, and they put me over. Which within itself, considering what they were doing to me at the time, was a miracle. But, I got I'm undefeated at WrestleMania, just like Taker.
You got a couple of nice figures, too. You got to admit that.
I got a bunch of great figures. And, I don't hold, I had some guy in the radio, it just blows my mind. Somebody, so what do you think about Vince McMahon trying to ruin your career? I'm like, well, I find all the time, people ask me all the time. And I said, let me ask you a question. Did Michael Jordan play for the Wizards or the Bulls? Yeah, exactly. Are you ribbing me? I had an unbelievable career. My time in New York was like less than 6 months. And they weren't going to do anything with me up there, and that is what it is. And it is what it is. I don't harp on it. The career that I had, and again, YouTube is just opened up for so many young fans to see, who really Diamond Dallas Page is and was, at that time. A buddy of mine, Dylan, made diamond cutters on everybody. And if you want to get a see how finish that was over, that changed the landscape of professional wrestling, watch that video and watch the crowd. It's, hot, hotter, mind-blowing, blowing off their seats. Then go back and watch it again and see who I hit the diamond cutters on. They were enhancement guys. Name me one person in the business ever that could grab the people and explode them and not be against a top or a middle guy. It was always, in that video, I don't think there's one guy who's not an enhancement guy in that video. And it's pretty amazing, to watch and how many different ways into it. So, to me, what I accomplished in my career starting as a manager at 31, becoming a color commentator at 32, going to WCW as a manager and a color commentator at 35, then becoming a wrestler because they tell me I'm too over the top, I'm too gregarious to be a manager, taking attention away from the wrestler, and the wrestler draws the money. And for me to go down there and actually work my ass off and get in the ring, they put me in the ring 3 weeks after I started training. And every time I wasn't on the road, I went down that power plant and learned. And then tear my rotator cuff at 36, get fired, come back a year later, and then gets put on the shelf and just keep going on that power plant and helping guys train, helping them live their dreams. And every time I'd come back to TV, it'd be, I'd be able to show something new each time. And it paid off. All that hard work paid off in 1994 when Hulk Hogan had just come in. It might have been early 95, I'm not sure the exact time, but we were doing a tour in Germany. And I'll never forget it. I came out of the ring, Hulk pulls me over. As soon as I come out of the ring, I come through the curtain, he pulls me over, he goes, okay, I don't get it. I'm like, get what? He said, how do you keep getting so much better? He goes, I see you on TV, every once in a while, and I see you really pop the people. You're always doing something new. He said, and I watch your match here. The last couple nights, I've actually watched your match, and you're constantly doing something different out there. He goes, this is what they've been doing with you, right? Letting you go on the road and learn your craft and saving you for TV here and there. I said, dude, I haven't been on the road in 3 months. I'm only on this tour in Germany because my last name is Falkenberg. I'm a kraut, and the Germans love their krauts, and I got a smoking hot wife that walks me to the ring, and it's the only reason I'm here. He's like, really? He goes, well, how are you doing it? And I told him about the power plant, and I said, Hulk, one thing I learned that the more I actually help teach these kids, they're kids too. I'm friggin' 36, 37 years old at the time. The more I teach them, the more I learn. The more I learn, the better I get. He's like, wow. He goes, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because it's not today or next year or the year after, but somewhere down the line, you and I have the ability to draw huge money together. Now let's fast forward 4 years.
2 times.
On Jay Leno, he's on the set with Rodman. Jay Leno in the middle. Me and Malone come out, throw the chairs down, throw up the diamond cutter sign, get in their face. We're shooting an angle, not on the wrestling program. We're shooting on the world stage, the Tonight Show. It was amazing. It manifested right before my eyes, bigger than anything I could ever imagine.
Don't forget when you brought Jay in as a tag team partner.
Yeah.
I mean, boom, 2 times again.
Yeah, it was fun work, and it was a lot of work because I had actually trained them for the match and to lay it out and all that stuff. So it was a great time. And it just showed that anything was possible. And the fan who really appreciates Diamond Dallas Page, if you go to The Real DDP blog on DiamondDallasPage.com, you'll be able to catch all of this as this goes. It'll probably take me 3 years to finish the thing. I don't know how many episodes I'll have, but I've got tons and tons and tons of footage because I got everything I ever did.
Rather than reminisce about the history, have you thought about maybe contributing to the future as an agent or as a trainer to open a school? I know YRG is huge and you're doing your thing now, but just to go back to the place where you started and make it full circle, have you thought about it?
No, I will go to do seminars. I told Booker next time I'm coming through Texas or something, I'll come through and do a seminar. Booker T's got a real good school, and he actually got a hell of a building and the whole deal, and I recommend his school to a lot of people, or if they're in Tennessee area, Handsome Jimmy Valiant's, but Book's got a great deal down there. I would do like seminars like that coming in, but what I'm doing right now, dude, I'm changing lives on so many different levels. It's not just Arthur Borman, it's a lot of people. And it's helping them really grab a hold and take control of their life. That's what I did in professional wrestling. When I had so many adversities upon me, I just kept working. And I know that work ethic equals results.
And Paige, I don't want to hold you up. Just had one last question for you. I hear you're a big Jay-Z fan.
I love Jay-Z.
He's got this little thing with his hands that he's...
You know what? And that, all I'm allowed to say is the matter has been resolved, and that's cool. But think about this: that Jay-Z's got to be the go down as one of the coolest cats on the planet out for the masses. He doesn't do anything wrong. So that I actually share a sign with the coolest guy on the planet, and I share a move with the best wrestler in the world, you know, I did something right.
Sure.
I did something right.
We don't want to get into the details of the legalities of it, but I'm curious. What was his reaction when DDP came knocking? It was like, "Hey, pimp, the hand thing, that's over here."
I have nothing to say. I have no comment. The matter's been resolved. That's all I have to say. Matter's been resolved. Now, I can talk about 303.
What's 303?
That's a band,
right.
And they do this.
Oh.
And they're like, but it's a circle.
Oh, with the fingers.
Yeah, the 303. It's like, wait a minute, that's the same thing, So I do have a suit on those guys right now. Well, they're the guys. They're kids. Maybe they missed it. Maybe they missed it because they were so young. Sure. But imitation's the truest form of flattery. As far as that's connection with 303. But we'll have to see what happens there.
One last thing before it slips my mind. Years ago, we discussed it. I know Austin, when he hit a little bump in his personal life, you guys were roomies for a little while. You guys might have talked about doing a reality show together, about two guys trying to break into Hollywood. Whatever happened?
Steve's life was a little too real at that point. And it was better for him just to not bring it out there. So long story short, I love him. He's one of my best friends. We talk all the time. I was proud of him in his movie, The Expendables. Thought he did a killer job. I believe in the next 5 years, Steve Austin will have moved himself up in the ranks in Hollywood and become, a pretty big name. I really believe that.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Diamond Dallas Page, DDP Bang, DiamondDallasPage.com. Website?
Just go to DiamondDallasPage.com. They all get you there. They all take you on that magic journey. So, wrestling fans, go to the Real DDP blog on DiamondDallasPage.com. Check it out. Guarantee you won't be disappointed. And as always, my friend, it has been your pleasure.
Of course, Page.
Bang!
Boom, brother. You're not just a worker. You're family. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Diamond Dallas.